There's no better feeling than a personal win, and the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you do just that. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune in to Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
I'm considering the Wild 2-game losing streak as a minor blip.
I would go along with that. I don't know how they lost to the Kings because it sounded like they had ample opportunities. But last night, that was. I watched the last 5 minutes, and when they pulled that goalie, the last 2.5 minutes, them boys were buzzing.
You could feel it coming, but it never happened.
It didn't happen. They hit a post, and they had the goalie laying on his belly a couple of times, trying to figure out where the puck was.
Well, you contend that they're dangerous.
They are dangerous.
Explain that.
I think, when they are throwing the puck around in that situation, but in a lot of other situations, they never had the puck on their stick when they were on when they had the goalie pulled for more than 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. Somebody else was getting the puck, and the Vegas fellas were rolling around in circles trying to keep up with them. And they finally lost the game when some guy just said, well, the hell with it, and took a shot from 200 feet, and it went in. And they just have a lot of guys who can score a goal on you, and I really like the pace of play, which we have never seen with the Wild. You've never seen them play this fast. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Jacques didn't have a fast start.
No, Jacques was the only playoff run they've ever had was based on how ugly can we make this game, right? Mm-hmm. And the neutrals, there's no neutral zone trap with this coach.
Well, he's one of the guys.
Yes, that's right.
He's one of the guys, one of the players on our team.
Profound.
They lucked into this coach, man. The coach was brought in by Paul Fenton, who lasted 11 months here. Without Boudreau's approval, basically, they brought him in, and he stumbled into the job. But he and Guerin seem to have the relationship, don't
Is
they?
Boudreau the long-term piece for Vancouver, by the way?
I don't know. He's the fixer. He's always the fixer.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have now, there it is, the old thing that's been around for. They are now chanting Bruce. There it is. Judd told me that Bruce and his wife went in a restaurant a 3 nights ago, and the crowd started chanting Bruce. There it is, and he got up and said, "Stop, please stop."
Let me just have some steak.
Because he probably
and
looks at this team and says, "Yeah, we aren't going to go unbeaten."
No,
but,
it's going to take a little more than a chant to get this crowd.
I do love the GIF that's out there on him, though, Joe.
What's the GIF?
The little video that they use on Twitter and other places. And it's him on the bench mouthing the greatest F-bomb ever. And somebody put on there, "Darn!" exclamation point. Bruce was a pretty good, all the hockey coaches are, but Bruce was a pretty good F-bomber. I talked to him maybe 3 times because I had his cell phone, and in the summer I'd called him a couple of times, and it was 15, 20 minutes, and 100 F-bombs in there.
I don't routinely watch the NHL Network, but was he good on there?
I don't know. I didn't hear much.
I didn't hear much.
I didn't hear much.
Did you look at that Zegras assist that I told you
I
about?
have not seen it yet.
yeah.
Judd told me that our guy Torts, who's now on TV, wants to outlaw it. Right.
But Gretzky was doing this 25 years ago.
Yes.
So
Okay.
there's nothing to outlaw. There's nothing to outlaw.
Well, why would you outlaw it if it's fun?
I don't know what Torts.
I
what's
gotta
his?
go see it.
Yeah.
By that kid's from New York, by the way. I thought with that name he was from Czechoslovakia or something.
By the way, is there a greater fraud in any sport than Tortorella, who absolutely hated the media when he was a coach, but now he wants to
There's a
work?
lot of guys like that, you know.
But is he
Sharper,
king of them?
Who was the Sterling Sharp?
Oh,
The
yeah.
tight end
Oh,
who wouldn't
yeah.
talk to anybody in Green Bay, and now he's got in the media. There's been a few guys like that.
You know who's been good? Has made the transformation pretty well. Randy Moss.
Yeah, he has.
He's
But
really-
you know, there's not a lot of depth. It's kind of quips and stuff. He doesn't. There's not a lot of depth.
Joe,
there.
have you guys all watched the alternate version of Monday Night Football on ESPN2 with Peyton and Eli? Have you guys caught wind of this at
I'm
all?
aware of it. I've never watched it.
So it's okay. It started out pretty novel. It's still okay. I actually prefer it as opposed to the main broadcast. But last week they had Joe Buck on with them, and
Really?
Buck can give the needle pretty good. So the game wasn't very close, and Peyton says, "Hey Joe, so when a game is not this competitive, do you wish you could talk to someone like this, kind of informally?" He said, "Yeah, I thought about this a lot when you guys got your ass kicked by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl." I went, "Oh my God, this is awesome!"
Yes.
Oh, it was just fantastic.
That's hilarious.
Well, I think a lot of people loosened up on Joe when they saw him on Brockmire, willing to do do the bit with Brockmire.
Oh, yeah.
When, you know, come off as the most arrogant guy that ever lived. So it was kind of fun. But I got to go see the guys. I'm going to see it when I get home. But it's been around for a week or so, right?
Yeah, December
Yeah.
7th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he flattens the stick and flips it over the net. And the guy,
No. He flattens his stick and he's here. I'll get it
Picks
up
it
for you
up.
right now.
He scoops it, like as Kenny said, like it's a grilled cheese sandwich, and then just kind of flips it, you know?
But what do you have to do to the stick? What do you have to do to the face of his stick?
We'll see.
Okay. This is right on the show here, ladies.
So this
and
is a
gentlemen.
portion of the program where Pat and Joe are watching a YouTube
What did I
video.
say the guy's name was?
Zegras.
like the grass.
Hell?
Zegreas. And then space assist, and it should be the first video that pops up on YouTube.
Or Zigger ass.
They're really going to stop talking to watch the video.
Yep, here we go.
Yeah, that's how
Well,
we're
what do
going
you want
to
us
do
to say, man?
I
We're
don't
waiting
know.
for it. It says. Where
How's it
is
working over there, Joe?
Oh boy.
There it is. Okay.
I got
No,
it.
this isn't it. This isn't it.
Well, how could it not be? Unless we got that stuff in front of
I
us.
got to get
Okay.
rid of that.
This is definitely going on
And I got to
YouTube.
get the
This is the mayor and Rice.
Z-grass assist is what I want.
Assist.
they're
I
doing
want
is
assist.
You remember how to spell assist? right?
Yeah, but
recording
the-
this to put this on
Here.
the old Twitter.
You got her?
Yep.
Usually the
Go
space,
get her.
Proof.
the
Yep.
space in there might have
I
helped.
should have had a space in there.
Probably should have put a space. In there.
Punctuation
Here it
no
is.
longer
Here it
needed.
is. Look at this now. We'll go here. We'll try this.
Okay.
All right. Here it goes.
All right.
He's
You
got
got
the guy.
this on here now. I
Oh,
can't
dismiss that.
see it. Yeah, dismiss it.
You missed it. See, I
Yeah, I
had.
missed it. So. Dismiss. Hit dismiss. Okay.
Okay, now volume.
Now.
You
now-
got her?
But go back. Go back. Start it all over again.
off the back of Ukko
They'll show it to you again now. They'll show it to you.
We gotta watch this one again. Wow.
Now watch what he does with the puck.
As you can see here, he's behind the net. It looks like he's going for the old Michigan. He brings it up.
Oh,
Miller
you
goes
can
to
carry
knock
it
out,
that
he shoots
high,
it
huh?
Oh, it's what a pass to Milano. Wow. And you can see Zegras too. He grabbed
That
his head.
is
Look at him. He's like, I can't
unbelievable.
believe it actually worked.
It is. Kenny's right. It does look like a guy putting it on a spatula.
Exactly.
I bet they react to it though. I bet
They will. They
react
think
to
this
it.
should be banned.
Who
Why?
Who does? Outside the
Tortellini.
torch. Just over Tortellini.
Well, what's going to happen is you're just going to have that forward going or a defenseman going crunch that guy before he can do the fancy schmancy. Mm-hmm. He's just going to go deck him.
Yes.
Well, he got away with that because he had time.
Right.
Where was the defenseman?
Where was the safety
man?
Where was the safety
It looked like
man?
that was in Buffalo.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
In one of the worst
how many
arenas.
wild games have you been to this year? 0?
I have to make my debut.
I'm
Maybe this week.
I think I'm going Tuesday.
Yeah,
to see
maybe
the
I will
Canes.
too. Yeah.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me my 7-year-old's been to more wild games this year than both of you combined?
Yes, and your
All
name-
three of us combined.
And he gave Leopold. No, I was at the opener.
Oh, that's right. You were at the
I was
lid
at the
lifter.
opener.
Carolina
But
has
it's
a nice
been
club, don't they?
2.5 months. Yeah, they got a lot of points. They had a
They have
12-game
39
winning.
points, same as the Wild.
They have a 12-game winning streak or something like
Wait,
that. No,
I have been to one game.
I think. Don't we have one of our fellas down there? Isn't Stoll down there in Carolina?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Eric Stoll, I think.
I'll look
One
up
of
their
the-
I did go to
Roster.
one game because I went and said hello to Carl Wetzel, and Carl's doing fine.
What's new in the Viking camp? Nothing with that off.
Well, they get to play the Bears.
We're not
next
out of it
Monday.
yet.
No, hell no.
We need a little bit of help.
Well,
from,
you gotta win. What are you? They're the
Washington
six
club's
and
gotta
7.
lose.
They lost last night. You got to. The Cowboys beat them. You gotta win 3 out of 4 to be a cinch. Right now,
Okay.
you got to get to 9.
Okay.
You got to get to
So
9.
you're telling me there's a chance?
if you get to 9, you're in. You could get in at 8 and 9. But that's probably
no, I want
unlikely.
I want to go in with pride.
But there's still a team that plays 2 different halves.
Yes,
You know,
drives you
they
crazy.
have a good
it
first
did.
half, and then you don't know what to expect.
Oh, you and Zim agreed on that. Zim said we looked like we could beat anybody the first half and couldn't beat anybody the second
Right,
half. So
right.
You know, even though they escaped or escaped, as Patrick would say, with a win, I would say the turning point came with the taunting penalty. When I forget what's his
Chris
name,
Boyd.
went right over and just went, "Hey," and that was a huge third down play. Then they get 1st and 10, and that gives them life.
I said this the other day. Football, cruelest game ever invented,
Yep.
and obviously your mind is racing. But the number of completely stupid things that football players do is amazing to me.
Okay, I'll give you an example. The whole Buffalo team goes out and stands on the
Not
Buffalo?
No, the Raiders.
The Raiders. They
the
go out and
Raiders team
stomp
in
on-
Kansas City. They go out to the
Yeah,
logo.
yes, right.
Yeah, you come and take it. Then they get absolutely
44
brutalized.
to 9
Yeah.
was it, or something like that?
Making
yeah.
a statement.
Yeah, really.
That was a hell of a statement.
Yeah, right.
There was a guy, I'm trying to find it, but he said, I think this is the first time in NFL history where opposing team stomps on midfield logo and is down 20-0 before halftime.
Okay.
And you know what? It didn't make any difference to the Chiefs. It just made you look like morons.
Oh, Mahomes talked about it, though, in his postgame.
Did he?
He said, it fired us up pretty well.
Really?
Yeah. Not that he
What
really
is
needs
with
it.
the logos, by the way? We got that? No,
That's
I haven't.
you got to defend your turf.
Yeah.
But isn't
Okay.
that a hockey thing? The NFL's never really cared about the logo in the end zone or the midfield.
I, accidentally walked across the Wild logo a couple of times.
In the room, huh?
In the room. Don't have it in the room. Or have it covered up.
Where
when
am
the
I
media's
supposed
I was
to
going
go?
to say,
Where
I
do I go?
couldn't picture you on the ice doing
I want to
this.
know. I want to get over. No, in the room.
In the room, all
If
right.
you're in the locker room, the media, they're all walking around like, we got to stay off the logo.
Walk across.
Why don't they have it roped off
Why?
with some?
Why do they have it there?
Oh,
Or
that's a
put
good-
a piece of carpet on top of it or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
You know why that is? Because, as Jacques would say,
You can't be a good hockey player not getting shots or not making plays.
see,
yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
It's really hard to argue with that.
Although, Jack didn't worry much about those chances. He worried about the other team's chances.
well, because he would give you guys too much information.
He would. You give it too much.
I give you too much.
Information. That's true.
Tell us about your exciting night at the Timberwolves game Friday.
God, were they terrible.
Oh, my word. What a god-awful thing.
It was. I am going to go and write a column on Anthony Edwards, the second-year young player.
Young ant.
Young ant, Yeah, I've loved some of his quotes that he's had. You know, he's had like 3 different times, and he had one the other day about Cat. You got to go quick, man. You got to go quick, Cat. You get the double team. They can't guard you. You got to go quick. You can't hold the ball. And, you know, the second-year guy lecturing his guy. But the one earlier about Finchie, we can't be playing like this and making Finchie act out of character and stuff like that. And, you know, he's been playing pretty good. He was horsebleep. He was awful. You know, they keep the plus minus. It's obviously a bigger number than you're going to have in hockey. He was a minus 32 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was brutal, so then I had to change my...
Did Ricky get a warm reception in front of the roaring crowd of 10,000?
He got a good, decent crowd, but a
He's
decent...
still playing?
He got a decent...
That was played during the blizzard, that game.
He's 31. Love was there. He got more booze than a couple of hands, but he didn't get booed lustily or anything. There were probably 10. I was surprised by the time the middle of the first period. By the time the game was over, in the middle of the first period, there were probably 10,000.
If they hadn't been playing against Ricky, pick Memphis or somebody else, would they have had about 5 with the snowstorm and everything else?
I don't think Ricky had anything to do with it. They probably had a Friday night, December.
That's true.
They probably had tickets sold.
I knew a kid watching the game, so I wrote Timberwolves ? Ridiculous. And the kid texts back, disappointing.
He's a kind guy.
Oh, he's a basketball nut. And I said, disappointing to say the least.
20-4 after 4.5 minutes.
Is that the young man?
Fitch gave it a timeout.
Joe, is that the young man that you lined up a bunch of tickets for years ago? That your whole crew went over to watch the Timberwolves game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what was the line you had? That they didn't get your money's worth?
They didn't get my money's worth.
Isn't it interesting that your whole collection of grandsons, basketball guys, right?
Oh, very much.
You, Mr. Hockey,
Yep.
and me, Mr. Basketball,
Got
got
the
2
hockey.
hockey players.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think of that.
By the way,
Here it is.
speaking of weapons that are used in youth sports, bats, and hockey sticks. Who is coming up with the prices for these?
Yep.
There's bats.
Yep.
My granddaughter, who's 12, going to be 13, and softball is just some little lark, right, for her. She likes hockey. She's a hockey player. And she hopes to maybe make the varsity someday. I don't know if she will, but she doesn't really care about softball. And yet, they're getting a $300 weapon.
$300 bat?
Yeah.
Yes.
And baseball.
Wait till they get older.
Baseball, the boy,
Yep.
he's going to get a $300 bat.
What's a hockey stick
What
cost?
are they made out of? What are these things? 100 and some now.
Hockey, you could go to Play It Again and buy the $20, Christian wood stick that nobody buys anymore. Otherwise, they're as high as $250.
Gotta be
You're
kidding.
gonna get a
What happens
composite
if you
stick.
snapper?
Goodbye, $250.
Wow.
That's
Well, I actually...
Now, when you have youth playing high school hockey, they bring their own sticks?
yes. When you have youth playing high school hockey, and what the Mikulski family found is that when you go to Play It Again Sports and you find a pair of skates that are already worn in, 100 times better than a brand new that you got to break in. So my kids got it as far as the sticks, that they didn't need the $239. We'd go to Play It Again, maybe buy a used one that some high school kid turned in for $79 or $100. And we weren't breaking sticks, I can tell you that. My kids were not breaking sticks.
No, but it did. High school or youth hockey did destroy your vehicle.
Yes.
It was just a total.
It was beat to hell. You got
leather
bags.
seats ripped off.
Oh,
and,
100%.
God, it was
You got,
terrible.
what happened here? Every time I gave him a ride, well, we had a hockey tourney in Edina.
Well, the grandson has a tournament. I think he's on I don't know if he's on a
Like a traveling team?
11-year-old.
Oh,
He's
okay.
on an 11-year-old B team or
Okay.
C team or something in War Road
Oh boy.
To play
next month.
To play Edina.
Yeah, they're
right,
probably they're in Woodbury, so they'll probably play Stillwater.
Yeah, right.
And But I think I'm gonna ride up with the three of them because I can find out about his life. Have him tell me his most
Yes,
the
and
best stories
He's
about
not
the
going to
prank.
tell you a thing.
I know.
but when the parents go to the safety meeting, you can be the designated driver. Because when the parents say, we got to go to the safety meeting over here. First time, we go, what's that? Like, we're having a parent safety meeting. What is it? You're just drinking beers and eating appetizers.
But why would you go to Woodbury for War Road for a tournament? There's tournaments all over the place.
Those are the fun ones. And those are the tournaments where the 11-year-old boys...
5.5 hours.
But they stay at the hotel, and you know what they do at the hotel? They play knee hockey all night. So what? They're tired for that 8:30 a.m. game the next day, and then they lose. And you never want to win one of those tourneys because that means it's 5:30
my
on a
friend
Sunday.
Dave Marvin owns the hotel up there, so one
It'll
of
be
the
a-
hotels.
Just book that conference room, but you never want to win any of those tournaments because it's
You gotta
the
get out early.
championship game is 2:30 or 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, well, I know.
Throw the game, kids. We're going to brunch.
I think in my case, the parents just looked at hockey and said, what's wrong with basketball?
Yeah, right. It cost you about
Nothing.
nice pair of sneaks.
Yep.
That's all you need. You don't have to have your own
It's
basketball.
easier to have a basket in your backyard than a rink.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
One caveat for brand new hockey parents: if you are called to a tournament in Duluth, nothing against this hotel, but a rough stay is the Radisson downtown with the revolving restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are so inclined to go to a safety meeting after all is said and done, you're sitting by the pool, and you might be playing cards with a bottle of Jim Beam or some beers, and you consume maybe half the bottle, and you go up to the room and you stumble in, and the kids say, "What's wrong with Dad?" And the wife says, "He's drunk." And I saw, you know what I saw? I saw it as a badge of honor. I said, "Look at how old I am, and they've never seen me drunk before." But
That's
then
right.
the payoff: do not agree to go to brunch at the revolving restaurant the next morning.
You
know, it'd be a little tough.
You know,
It'd be a
how,
li- it was a little
you know
tough.
how old that hotel is? It was there. They had finished it up when I
Okay.
worked there in the mid-60s.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's been around.
And that they were building the new arena, the deck,
The deck?
when I was up there that year. They were still playing in the curling club,
Well, that's
which is gone. Sadly, they took that. That should have been on the historical
I played in
building
there.
list.
I played in the curling.
curling
Oh,
club.
it was great.
That would have been. That's a great
I think
sport.
the deck's gone now too, isn't it? Because it's
Well,
Amsoil something
but they
or other.
kept part of the.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Attached it like St. Paul does with the
Got it.
old arena.
So how come the Timberwolves then won in Portland
Why don't they play like that?
every night?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Portland is having a very hard time, and D'Lo,
Who was that?
D'Angelo Russell, had missed 3 games, and he came back and played pretty good. He can give you the erratic performance.
Seems to me the NBA is just erratic by nature.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's for sure. And you know, these guys won 7 out of 8, and everybody was saying, "Oh, hey, you know, things might have changed." And then they lost 5 in a row, and they got increasingly more horse crap in each game. So, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
For $1 million, can you guys all remember the Timberwolves player that inspired that famous Joe Souchere line? Why can't he do that every night after scoring 50 points in a basketball game?
Yes. What was his name?
Joe, do you remember?
No.
Give me a minute. He was a disappointing draft choice, known for his defense, right?
Oh my! It
hell?
was.
What was
I can
it?
see him.
The guy that had the boat in Milwaukee?
No,
you're thinking
Latrell
of Sprewell.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Sprewell.
Latrell Sprewell.
I can't. What's
He
the
need
guy?
to feed his family.
What
I
was-
forget.
Come on, I thought you'd get it for sure.
I can't.
First name.
Corey Brewer.
Corey Brewer, yes.
Why can't you do that every
kind of a
night?
It
defense.
happened on April 11th of 2014, and Joe
Mike-
let off Sports Talk saying, "Why can't he do that every
Mike-
night?"
Might be the most unlikely 50-point scorer in the history
no
of the NBA.
question. No question.
It's he was a defender and just a kind of an extra
I got to
player.
start writing these down. These are tweetable. Why can't he do that every night? Joe
I'll
Souchere.
tell you what, though, fellas, at my advanced age, every time you can't remember something, you get nervous. I was saying the other day, the hardest thing about being old is not knowing if it's recycling week or not. Not being able to remember if you're supposed to take out the recycling.
Don't you just look at what the neighbors are doing?
Well, that's the problem. Last week, the
neighbors are getting old too.
They're young. They're youth, but they got a baby, so maybe they're distracted. But they only had the main can out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't take out the recycling. They were wrong, because then when I glanced out in the morning.
Is that how you played out the game of
When
flaws? They were wrong.
When I glanced out in the morning, they had it out.
Oh, no.
But it was already empty.
Oh, no. You know what he
They
did?
had it. I think he was just pranking the old man.
Or he did the 4:30 a.m. in his underwear when he woke up and went,
oh, crap.
It's out. And you hear that thing come by at 6:30 and you know the cans aren't out there.
I'm not really at that stage yet. I know when it gets picked up.
Well, I'm not good. I tell you one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to mark a calendar to say.
No. By the way.
No.
So I'm the first pickup on my cul-de-sac.
Okay. Uh-oh.
No. Well, usually I'm pretty good about remembering.
It's a cul-de-sac, so you can catch them on the way back.
So here's what I did, because she's been going through the house and getting rid of a lot of stuff, which means my garage is piled with extra garbage. So it was completely full.
Yeah,
I put it out there. I waited for him to go all the way up there. I refilled it, took it to the other side.
Yeah, that's very good.
I got two takes that
Wait till you
week.
get that bill.
Yeah, that's true.
I still say, what dump does it all go to?
Yeah.
They're not making anything out of that. I don't buy it.
You know that I
you
think
mean like
Golden
it's all
Valley
recyclable?
passed.
Do you think it actually becomes new lawn furniture? And
I think one of I think one of these months in Golden Valley we are supposed to start throwing food in a separate.
I'm not doing that.
In a what do they
like
call
in a compost?
Yeah, the compost one. They're going to have a third one. They'll charge us for it, but I'm not composting.
No. You know what? I'm
Look
on
at
my-
me. I eat it all. I
That's
don't
right.
have any
You
leftovers.
clean your
yeah,
plate.
Look at me. I'm not a.
Well, it's for lawn clippings and stuff too, though, isn't it?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, that's a
I
different
can
one.
see that
Go in
one.
there
I
together.
can see that one. Yeah, that one you just take out when you want.
Dear, let me take the watermelon rind to the
Yes.
compost.
Yes.
I'm not doing that. I swear to God, I'm not doing
Not
that.
doing that either. Not doing that.
Because the worst part about it is it attracts all the bugs in summertime.
Summertime.
Oh.
yeah. That's one nice thing about winter garbage.
No stink.
Doesn't no
That was
stink.
August, that late August.
It's going to be an interesting experiment for the old chubby man. Being here all winter is going to be interesting.
Well, that's right. You lost your estate.
This is your
Right.
first winter in some
There's
time.
no
Yeah,
escape.
first time that you're not saying, when should we leave? Late December or early January.
Yeah.
Now it's, when should we leave? To drive to Lake of the Isles and drive around and look at
Well,
the
you'll
water.
go to Florida this year, won't you?
I don't think so. Here's the thing. I'm afraid to
Do you
make...
regret the loss of the estate?
Not really. But I'm afraid to make any arrangements.
I do, because it was fun to stay there. Yeah.
I
regret that.
Rookie does.
Truly regret that you sold it.
Lavelle regrets it. But I'm afraid to make any arrangements because we might still have a lockout. You know,
Yeah.
we
yeah,
might
good
not have
point.
any spring training, and just about for everything you're afraid to make arrangements because you know.
I have a question about
what's
that.
happened with Omicron.
Well,
Delta
How bad's it
variant.
going to get?
Why are we still allowed to sign guys if there's a lockout?
We're not.
Well, there was a couple signings yesterday I saw, and maybe is it a minor league deal or are they allowed to do that?
Minor league.
Oh,
deals.
then maybe that's
They're
what it was.
signing them to minor league contracts because the
Okay.
minor league business you can do, but if you're on the major league roster, you can't even go to Fort Myers and lift a weight.
I do like how a lot of the guys are taking their now darkened photo on MLB.com and making them their profile pictures on their Twitter accounts and stuff. I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, but it's but that's kind of a campaign to do that, right? I don't think they're making as much fun to MLB. They're not going to help MLB in any way as the feud. I don't think they're meeting yet, though, right?
Why? I don't know.
I know that Manford said that no meetings planned at this time. So-
aren't they having the winter meetings?
Oh no, they got canceled. Yeah.
Oh,
They
boy.
got canceled.
Where was that supposed to be this year?
Not sure.
Orlando?
I'm not sure.
It's never anywhere cold.
No, that's true.
You know
They
what
never
the
picked
winter
Banff.
meeting, You know what the winter meetings were when I covered them? The same thing as golf, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse to drink in the day. No, same thing as fishing. Excuse to drink in the daytime.
Jimmy Cannon.
Jimmy Cannon, just to taunt his pal Red Smith.
Right.
He used to refer to fishing as an excuse to drink in the daytime. And it's, I called my friend McFeely about something yesterday, and the sports writer from Fargo, he was sitting on the ice with one of those little man-made,
Like the
one of
clams
those
or
little man-made things, and he said, if you hear a scream, this ice isn't quite as thick as I thought it was. He said,
okay then.
yes, right.
I've never gotten into the. I don't know what would cause somebody to fish in the winter.
No.
On the ice.
No. The little ice fish houses used to be, for alcohol and drugs, but, get out of trouble. I told you, Doc Ellis.
Doc Ellis, loved
Doc
it.
Ellis. Loved it. Hey, I love those. You from Minnesota, huh? This is when he was sober, but he said, I love those little lake houses, man. They're great. You just stay out there and do anything you want to. Nobody bothers you. Take all the drugs you want. Have all the visitors you want. Nobody cared,
Speaking of Fargo, I watched a little bit of the Bison on, was it Saturday that they had their game?
11,000 people.
Was that what it was?
Oof.
Yeah.
Their crowds are way down.
Is it COVID related, do you think?
No, I think they lost, they're kind of bored with the FCS. Now they'll be full Friday because they got James Madison, their arch rival, showing up. But they're spoiled by success.
I was just going to say, it's sort of like the Wild. They're bored. Too much winning.
Yeah, that's true. When I think we have, because the season is finishing later, right, this year? Mm-hmm. When our boys make the finals, will they be playing in July? Or is she going to wrap up at the end of June?
Ooh, that's a
I'll
good
look it
question.
up.
God, I hope it's not July. You want the parade to be in June.
Yeah. Where's
Not the latest.
the parade? By the way, starts at the Schmidt Brewery. You don't want to get Minneapolis involved, right? Start at the
Correct,
Schmidt
correct.
Brewery. Come all the way down West 7th.
To St. Peter
Yeah.
and go north on St. Peter, the capital.
Yeah.
Make a circle and come back down Cedar.
Something like
Yeah.
that. Yes.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are going to run, this is according to NHL.com, May 2nd through June 30th of 2022.
So the end of the
Wow, May 2nd.
So
to
it
June.
used to end about
You are.
Yeah,
You're
the
in
last
July.
day of the Stanley Cup final last season was July 7th, but it'll end a
30
little
years
bit.
ago. The last game was May 31st.
Wow.
Ended on Memorial Day.
Well,
Right?
in the original 6, it was done by mid-April.
Okay, well,
Then
what's,
they can go to the.
what's
That's right.
funny is to go back and look at the Minneapolis Lakers championships.
When were they? In April?
They wrapped her up about April 6th
Yep.
most of the time, April. And baseball didn't start till, I was looking up Tony's thing from his first year. Their 5th game of the season was on April 19th.
Wow.
They started like on the 12th or 13th or 14th or something like that. And now we're starting it in March.
God, that's amazing.
Everybody,
Well, what are the chances of a lockout in spring training?
damn good. I think.
Really?
Yeah, damn good. I think
These people can screw up their game, can't they?
Yes, they can.
And
What's the main sticking point, Pat, or are there several?
I think it's when you get to be a free agent, when you get to have arbitration. I don't know. They want to somehow. They're very upset that the 31-year-old guys don't get big contracts anymore. Well, what are you going to do? You can't convince the young and analytic crowd that some guy who's okay at 31 should get a lot of money because they're replaceable.
Plus,
So,
I hope they realize the money's not there like it used to be.
well, it's hard. It's hard for them to say that when they see Max Scherzer getting $43 million.
True.
A year. So I don't know but wait till they try to renegotiate their TV contracts with the amount of TV audience they're delivering. It's almost non-existent.
It's amazing how it's fallen.
Oh, Joe, the product is just awful. Mm-hmm. I can't believe it. It basically makes me sad. It does.
Yeah.
To see what is becoming of the game. When I am when they're in the 5th inning of the World Series game, and I go watch another show for an hour and come back, and it'll be the 7th. There's something
But you
wrong
grew
with
up
it.
in the era of the 2-hour game. Hour 50.
Somebody texted this out for the Dodgers Twins 7 games, 1965. I think 241 was the longest, and 213. They went from 27 to 241, but the 241 was like the outlier. I think the next longest was 234, and then they were 207.
It's all TV's fault.
The 7th game, the Koufax beating the Twins 2-0. That game had to be like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that.
And they said, "What's taking so long?"
I wrote a thing on the 70 Twins and how good that team was, but they were unlucky. Rodney got his knee blown out by Mike Hagan rolling into him in June. He was hitting 370 something when he got hurt. And then 2 pitchers broke down, Tiant and Boswell. But Koufax's last year was 1966 when he beat out Jim. There was only one Cy Young Award. That was the last year there was only one that covered both leagues. So Cott would have won it because he was 25-13 that year with an ERA with 304 innings pitched in the American League. But Koufax that year, 27-5, I think, with 27 complete games.
But you never see anymore.
Which might be more than there were in baseball last season.
Oh, I guarantee there wasn't that many.
27 complete games. And ERA was 1.73 and something like that. But, I mean, obviously a different animal going back then.
That's part of the ruination of the product.
Oh, God, yeah. Pitchers.
Yeah.
66 pitchers in 6 World Series games.
Isn't that something?
66 pitchers used in 6 World Series games. That's
All it does is stop momentum. Mm-hmm. And you're dealing with generations now who have attention span problems to begin with.
Did you hear my question to Buxton at his press conference?
No.
I said, Byron.
You going to play?
No, I should have asked him that. But I said, Byron, 8,000 more strikeouts than when you were first starting a decade ago in Major League Baseball. And 13 hitters total qualified in the major leagues that hit over 300. 13 in both leagues total. And 66 pitchers in 6 All-Star games and 6 World Series games. And then I said, I just wanted to make those points. And then I said, how much tougher is it to get a hit than you thought it was going to be when you started playing baseball? Something like that. But I wanted to get those stats out there just to see the look on Falvey and Levine's face sitting up there next to him, because that's,
Did he acknowledge that it's harder to get a hit?
yeah. He said, man, he says, for a while he dwelled on having to face a different pitcher every time. He says, now you just got to say, okay, I'll try to get him,
I find this shocking, Pat, but there were 50 complete games last year in
Were there?
2021.
Okay.
I would have agreed with you. I wouldn't have thought that there were that many.
Combined, or is that
Combined, yeah. The leading leader had 3. Oh shoot! I just lost my screen.
Probably Scherzer. I don't know.
And Koufax had 27.
Herman Marquez for the Rockies, who's pretty good. He had 3. Adam Wainwright had 3, and Zach Wheeler, who we didn't need, also got 3 for the Philadelphia Phillies.
We didn't need anyone available?
No. Well, we went after him, but he chose to sign with Philadelphia.
Got it.
All righty.
All right.
You got to go to the bank?
Not really.
I went to the bank already today.
I have to go to the credit union.
I had to load up on the cash, man.
And don't forget when it's recycling week.
Christmas.
You dumping all that money into War Road
No.
next weekend? Or whenever
No,
it is?
it's middle of January.
Oh, okay.
Middle of January.
Yeah, why not wait till it's really cold?
We're going to let it cool off.
Yeah, let it.
I was going to say, we don't want to get it up there when it's
too nice
balmy.
now.
Way too nice.
We don't want to be up there when it's balmy in War Road.
Oh, I can't wait for the reports we get from War Road.
Yeah.
I think Henry's
Have you been there?
Yes, I've been there about 2-3 times, but twice I went up there on the Marvin Plain.
Oh.
I because they used to have one that came down every morning and went back every afternoon.
Was there any weight and balance issues, or is it?
Yeah, they made sure that
Put him in the middle.
wasn't as bad as the one when I was flying into Cheyenne, and the guy said, you know, 'cause there was another beefy guy on the side.
They're bringing in medicine balls to offset the weight on the left side.
Two of us tubs were on the same side of the plane, and the guy comes in and says, "One of you sit over here and let this 80-pound lady sit over on the other side."
Weight and balance
Yes,
issues.
right? Because that thing was like one of those you walked in, a 16-seater.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, right. It was. It was.
my God.
The pilot came in. No.
Hang on a sec. We're gonna shuffle.
Was this
around.
for Wyoming?
We can't. Yeah, we can't. We can't come flying in like
Wyomania?
this. It would have been. Yes.
You're done with Wyoming.
I have had to give it up. Yeah, it's just
Too rowdy.
too rowdy. Plus, I don't know.
Gets old after a while.
It was
That's another.
blue and gold, black and gold, first down, brown and gold.
Brown and gold.
Brown and gold, first down.
Did
But
you
I
see-
do have a Wyomania hat and Wyomania gloves when I shovel the sidewalk. So
You had to see the Buffalo quarterback. Who am I
Josh
thinking?
Allen.
Josh
You did?
Allen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Boy, did they let him get beat up yesterday.
Had he not been
pretty
injured,
good.
he would have ran it in for a touchdown to win the game before overtime.
That would have been quite a comeback.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. I showed Joe a video, Pat. I have a friend that was in attendance for the game yesterday. This was supposed to be the Reavers-Bills road trip, but I couldn't make it happen
These
this year.
Buffalo
move.
people are nuts.
Smart
Pat.
move. Smart move.
There was-
Anybody jumping on tables?
There was a video. There had to, Joe, how many people were in that
Hundreds.
tailgating lot?
Hundreds.
And the guy
Hundreds.
goes top rope into the table, and everybody erupts. And they are about a block from Raymond. Is it still Raymond James Stadium? Where
I think
Bucks
so.
play?
I think so.
But they're trying to make them build a new one.
But it
See, the trouble with building a new one is then you kind of get it gets more expensive and the crowd gets more respectable. That's what happened in Philadelphia. I mean, they'll still throw batteries at you and get drunk,
Right,
but
right.
well, it happened here.
is-
It happened here at U.S. Bank.
Hey,
But
if they build a new football stadium, could you convert the current one to a baseball?
well, they have a nice baseball stadium.
Not in
does?
For their
Tampa.
minor
Not
league
in
team.
Tampa.
Oh no, not Tampa. No, I'm talking about Buffalo.
Oh.
Buffalo. Tampa's got Raymond James got a great. You mentioned Raymond James. No, Buffalo. They want to.
That's
they
what I'm
do.
saying. Can you make Raymond James a baseball stadium?
But Pat was referring to the Bills, not the Bucks.
I know.
As in the
but
I
I'm
don't
asking
know.
a different question.
But the Buccaneers aren't leaving that facility.
Here's their plan.
Oh.
Here's their plan. Here's their plan, though. They now want to build a 25,000, 30,000 seat stadium down near the hockey arena in, is it Ybor City? YBOR. In Ybor City, that they would play in Montreal in the summer because you can't play outdoor baseball in Tampa in an unroofed stadium in
you'll
the summer. It rains every day at 4:30.
True.
It's you have ungodly a number of rainouts. So, having been on the West Coast in Fort Myers, it's Florida in the summer it rains every day at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Is this
Yeah, but it doesn't last.
Yeah, but sometimes it does. Yeah.
That is Patrick's forecast.
Well, there it is, folks.
Sometimes
Now
it
let's
lasts.
check your local neighborhood.
One of my great friend Bob Willis, I've told this story, who ran the Orlando Twins, and feared those rainouts that the rain arriving at 5 would reduce his crowd from 150 to 80. Because nobody ever came to a game anyway.
Right.
But he had one of the first little computers in his office there, and I was down there, and he'd just sit there and
Watch the radar.
Look at the radar, and all of a sudden he'd be sitting there at 4 in the afternoon, and something would pop up out on the Gulf. Out on the Gulf, you'd see this little dot, and he'd say, "There's that son of a." And then another one would pop up over here, on the other side.
Yeah.
Then he'd say, "Now them two son of a are going to come down and they're going to meet. And he'd say, "Get the tarp on the field."
Speaking of that, Patrick, we were lamenting the fact that Twins Fest was canceled for this year.
Yes.
We're not hosting it, to
No,
which it made
we
me think
can't
of.
be there.
It made me think of one of my favorite Twins Fest memories when the four of us were sitting at the Metrodome and we see these guys get the first in line, and you looked up and said, "Look at these bleeping dorks."
No,
and then Joe,
the best was what a dump. The
Joe
Metrodome.
looks around and says, "Look at this dump."
Well, it was, man.
Welcome to the.
Yeah. Let's promote. What's coming up on the Twins?
Let's get Joe
agenda?
Bauer out here.
That was one of our. That was probably the greatest sales job we ever did, except for when we told Puke and Snot they weren't funny.
You guys aren't funny. This isn't
We
funny.
didn't even make it through to the end of the Renaissance Festival, did it? They
No.
we were
No,
their
I think they
official,
pulled advertising
They were
right
our
away.
official spot. We were the official station of them until we told the guys they
Joe
weren't
and
funny.
Pat kicking off Twins Fest is the home of the Minnesota Twins, and Joe cracks a mic at 3:03 and says, "Look at this dump."
But it was. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah,
what a dump that
Hell, it
place
cost
was.
you your job at the as a sports
It
columnist.
did once, so why
Yeah,
not?
Was that the first time you had been inside the dome since the World Series?
No.
Oh God, no.
Okay,
He had grandkids. He had to
that's
take
true.
care
I
of.
suppose that's true.
All right, that's enough.
That's it.
Yes,
enough.
Way too much entertainment for what they paid.